guess he never really told me what they are. But I've been trying to figure out the, I guess, metaphysical explanation of God and the angels and how it's all possibly just a source of energy. And he explained to me the fallen angel aspect. He said he is one of the fallen ones, and that would make him a demon, but he was a demon, but he's a fallen one, which is not like pure evil. And I asked him, I said, well, what do you mean fallen then, if you're cast down from grace, cast down from, from God, from heaven? And then it hit me. I was like, oh, you're a lower vibrational energy. Which, no, not a lower vibration, I'm sorry. Not in the terms that's commonly known. What he is and his brethren, so to speak, they're not worthy. Like, they're no longer pure enough to be in that divine God's presence, like as serving him. Because what the issue is there's a contending message, a contending kind of guidance and leadership in their way. It's not the pure way of this God. And so once they came and mated with women, and they had their offspring, but how they, I think most importantly, how they taught the things they did, they by teaching those things and by freely giving them to this primitive human race, actually caused them I guess if you could personify these beings, then they would cause them to have pretty much transgressed the will, which is the law of this God. And so if you consider God in a Gnostic type of aspect, where God is the actual God, like the God of the Bible, so to speak, this almighty, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present being, this is referred to as the light. And so when you come and realize that light is nothing but pure light and no darkness can be in it, that means that the light cannot have shadow, because if the light had shadow, it wouldn't be pure light anymore. It would be, marred by physical, I guess, manifestation or carnal manifestation, which would be shadow in that respect. It's the craziest thing in the world. That's so fascinating. So the demons, depending on, their message, their purpose, what they do, how they behave, often these are evil spirits that are kind of manifest by our own, I guess, technically referring back to this ancient, God of Israel, kind of how it's evolved into kind of taking over the world with Christianity kind of thing. The sad thing about it is they had it all wrong. The good thing about it is the message was preserved intentionally for a reason. So consider this: the collective consciousness is essentially the great God, so to speak, but it's not this perfect one. It's just a governor. It's like the perfect mind. That's like the collective consciousness. But we, as living, separate, independent entities, we actually, even though we are within the collective consciousness, because the collective consciousness is essentially all that exists, because all that exists is energy, and that is the epitome of the collective consciousness. It's essentially like the perfect mind. And so that perfect mind is made up of nothing but energy, just like our consciousness is nothing but energy. Therefore, our existence, in terms of the ability to live and experience and, perceive, is based on energy. And so I'm sure at some point they could actually measure this, in science. It would be like quantifiable. But the thing about it is that the great God that cast these, watchers, so to speak, down would be just that there was like a unanimous, energetic acknowledgement that, okay, we are not what is best for this race. And so we as humans, as in the collective consciousness, we pretty much dictate what is best for us and what isn't by our own experience and how we evolve and what is the best way. So, like, if massive orgies and killing everybody for, blood and stuff was something like, if like human sacrifice and all that was actually what was best for the evolvement of the human race and the preservation, most importantly, then that would be exactly what would master everything. If you look at the various religions of the world, the collective consciousness has dictated the most valuable aspects. And unfortunately, whereas human sacrifice per se is not necessarily in that high ranking nature, there is some of those dark things, which is why they abound in society, that are chosen by the collective consciousness for the sake of the human race. And this is essentially your God. Now, once you take in the aspect of sorcery, and this is explained in the Urantia book, well, kind of, sort of. So the one they call the Great I Am, or the God of Israel, so to speak, or, well, what they falsely represent as this God of Israel, then what they call this ultimate divine creature is that the Great I Am. And the Great I Am is how they reference in the Urantia book. And essentially it was like sorcery, where this independent consciousness, such as go ahead and personify that as a human being, decided that, oh, I'm going to be God, pretty much. So I'm going to sit there and I'm going to take all the potential realities and everything else, and I'm going to, change everything to my will. I'm going to learn to master it. I'm going to master all the arts and all the sciences, and I'm going to dictate to them their way. And so once I overcome all this and I realize that I alone am energy, then all I have to do is sit there and become and allow myself to experience through whatever means necessary, which is where you get the kind of vampiric type of tendency. So even though it's not like a type of feeding, like a draining of life force or draining of blood, whatever, it is a type of parasitic involvement with the human race. And so this divine creature that, has evolved from the human race, this is what you have as your God. Now, when you come down to the actual God of Israel, I can verify that that is actually Samael himself, which is essentially the devil. And people don't seem to realize, if you compare the two, before the days of Christ, this was God. He was essentially just like the devil. He was very demanding. He was very selfish. He was very strict, and only his way is all that matters. And so if you didn't do things by his way, then that's it. Over the course of time and the evolving of the human race, this grand entity, the devil, has actually obtained a type of well, I guess you really got to figure out the origins of that creature, because that's the one that ascends and divorces, the confines of reality, that binds in the arrest of time and space, development and experience. So first was the devil, then from the devil came God, because the devil is actually the one who is very primitive and lacking of empathy. And so that's why you had the son, so to speak, born. And it's all essentially achieved by a mastery of sorcery. And so the mastery of sorcery has actually allowed the human race to evolve to an extent, which is why there's archons, because archons are meant to prevent the human race